lasses, and welcome to another fan-dabby-dozy episode of Around the Campfire. I am Nicola, and we are also joined with our regular bunch of rowdy outlaws, Jackie and Catherine. Say hiya, guys.
Welcome to Skyrim. That was our new AI system of Skyrim. Her name is Nicola.
I see you're
Hiya.
awake. Well, the downside is Google Translate doesn't translate Scottish, so who knows what she just said? It could have been something bad. It's a mystery.
I think it was something good. I mean, I felt like I was on one of those radio shows from across the sea. I think you did a very good job. You are clearly the adult of our group.
Hey,
Sure about that? I'm pretty much an amateur. But no, I'll put you guys in the picture. I don't actually sound like that at all. I just thought it would bring a bit of whimsy to the podcast. I mean, if Mike Myers can do that and build a career off it, then, well, that being said, he's Canadian, so that's questionable.
That's true.
so
Don't
wait,
know about that.
so wait, are you confessing that you're actually a Canadian?
No.
Oh.
No.
Because we were
But hey, the good news is if you felt like that you were part of a radio show from somewhere overseas, we can now add immersive to our resume.
Hey, yeah,
Going
that's
international.
right. We can be like, hoes in different area codes. Definitely.
But we already are.
All right, so welcome everyone again to Around the Campfire. This is episode 2. Oh my God, I'm so excited about this because you guys are amazing. But first, we are rated E for everyone. These hands are rated E for everyone. So, actually, no, we're rated E. So sometimes we may talk about things that might be a little bit more saucy or risque. So just an
Or mature.
FYI. Yeah, and a little bit more mature. So if you hear maybe some curse words or some subject matter, just know we're rated E. So we're not for kids, unfortunately. We're also not for human consumption as well.
I didn't think you were actually going to read that part. We have a list. We have a list of notes going, and just as a joke, I added that in. I didn't think she'd actually read that part.
Hey, look, if I bite you and you die, that means that I am venomous. And if somebody eats me, I am poisonous. We are not for human consumption.
I guess that means I'll just hoard the antidote then.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Nobody's getting it. It's mine.
But with that being said, with our disclaimer, we promise not to go too in depth. It's not going to be over the top, grotesque or really really mature topics. But there may be some light cussing here and there. The topics that we may discuss may fall under the mature thing. We will also try our best if there's anything really sensitive, we will try to throw out a trigger warning or a content warning before we talk about it. But we are still learning. We are still new at this, so we do ask for everyone's patience. If you have any helpful tips or constructive criticism, then we are completely open to hearing all of that.
Yes,
If anything,
definitely.
I'm still learning to be an adult, let alone a podcast. So,
Look, having seen the Twitter response, I don't think that any of our followers are actually adults. Age-wise, yes. Maturity-wise, probably not.
nothing wrong with
Yeah.
that.
Speaking of our Twitter response, holy crap.
Yeah.
No.
Isn't it crazy? Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. You guys are amazing. Just the response to our weird little podcast thing that we started, we were just we have no idea what we're doing.
We still don't.
We still don't. We're not geniuses. But
Speak for yourself. I'm kidding.
oh. But no,
Together,
you guys,
come on.
yeah, thank you so much. 29 followers this week in total for our Twitter page, which is amazing. I didn't expect that. But we are also available on 5 other platforms. So if you don't necessarily listen with Spotify because you prefer something else, we are available on Google Podcast, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, and of course Anchor and Spotify.
Mm-hmm. Now, it will be said that Apple Podcast is coming. I was eating a piece of ice and forgot that I needed to swallow that before I started talking. My apologies.
Oh,
At least I didn't inhale it like I tried to do before we started.
Yeah, that wouldn't be any help.
I'm still coughing that up. But anyway, just so you guys know, there are more platforms coming, but it does take a little bit of time. Once all of that is done, they will start showing up immediately, but it does take some time for everything to be completely launched. So just, again, bear with us. We are slowly but surely, we are climbing to the top.
yeah. We are climbing. Don't worry, we will not die on the precipice of this podcast.
And also, in our first week, and like we haven't even actually made it to a full week yet. By the time this airs, we will. But in our first week, right now, we have 31 listeners, which is phenomenal to me.
Mm-hmm. It's I don't know. I'm just like, wow, that's pretty good. And like, also, thank you so much for the people that followed us also on YouTube. We're Around the Campfire podcast on YouTube. And for just our first video alone, we had 17 views on it. And that's amazing. We promise that we're not gonna keep like reading out how many views and plays and things like that, but we're just so excited, and we just wanted to let you guys know, just thank you so much. Just
really so grateful for all the support, all the encouragement.
Yeah.
I mean, it really does mean a lot.
It really does.
All of us.
Like, I don't know about the two of you, but like when we conceived this idea many months ago, like forever ago, when the dinosaurs roamed the earth, back in March.
Yeah.
But yeah, when we first talked about it, like it was a fun idea that we just kind of threw around. We really didn't think much of it. And so when we actually got around to doing it, I literally thought that it was going to be like 2 or 3 people, like our close friends and family in the background. You're doing great, sweetie. That kind of thing. I'm so blown away. And oh my God. And then on top of that, and this just tickles me, is the fact that Mick, who plays Sean on Red Dead, is apparently our biggest fan.
Oh my God. Yeah. What was it? It was before we even did our first episode, like Jackie said, we were just kind of like, oh, podcast. Yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah. And then just nothing. We didn't do anything with it. We'd bring it up every once in a while. Like, yeah, we should do a podcast. Yeah, I think that'd be a great idea. Just kind of like, hey, at each other. And then Jackie had commented on a link that Mick had shared on Twitter for an interview that he had did with another podcast. So like, I sure hope you like that idea of being, of like doing podcasts and stuff, because we're thinking about doing a podcast as well. And you can hear in the background, like us, Jackie and myself, just going, no, just, I heard Nicola, I echoed it, and Jackie's just like, huh, what's that noise? Sounds like a plane over there.
Like he was like, oh yes, absolutely, I would love to do that. And I took a screenshot and I sent it to them. And the next thing I get is an audio message on our little group of Catherine just going, no. And I was like, if I could save that clip, that would be my ringtone. Just the oh no.
I'm pretty sure me and Catherine were on PlayStation chat at the same time, and I think coincidentally we both checked our phone at the same time. We both went,
And see, the funny thing is, so
No.
I was at work, and I was just like, I'm just gonna test the waters and see what happens, you know, like
Just
he'll be like, ha ha ha, you know, like laugh it off, okay, pal, you know, that sort of thing, and then he was like,
yeah.
I am ready for this, and I went, uh-oh.
Oh no.
So I was at work, and I was on the phone with my friend Joanna, who also, just for the record, if you really like the artwork that you're seeing wandering around of the animals in Cameo thing, that is Joanna's artwork. So be sure to give her a huge thank you and a huge round of applause, because I love it.
It is amazing. I love it as well. When she first showed it to us, we are like, that's it. That's the one.
Mhm.
That we don't need to see anything else.
Exactly. I was like, this is perfect. This is exactly what I wanted. Like, this is exactly what I had in mind. But anyway, regardless of that, and thank you again, Joanna. But yeah, I was on the phone with her, and I went, oh no, I messed up. And she's like, what did you do? And I said, well, looks like we're starting a podcast. Like, for realsies and for serials, we are starting a podcast. So if you do listen and you do enjoy what we're doing, you have Mick to thank. So go give him a follow and give him a round of applause, because he's the one that kind of went, hey, look, here's this lighter. Oh, look, there's some asses I can set on fire. Awesome, cool. Yeah, he's the one that lit the fire under us, and we went, all right, let's do this. And we threw this all together in like, what, a week?
Yeah. Like literally the same, probably like maybe 12 hours after that, I had created both the YouTube page and our Twitter page and our email address. And we're like, okay, I guess we got to do something, or else these are just going to be sitting here like relics.
Yeah, it was almost
gathering
like
dust.
it was almost like a dare. Like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. Are you gonna do it? But one thing you said that I really found profound. Let me see if I can find it real quick. There we go. So I sent him a message, and I thanked him profusely for the huge amount of support, because that one legitimately shocked me. Like, I have come to think of all of us as friends, but there's always that, okay, but he's our friend, but he's also like over here in this league, you know. Yeah. But so to see that he just kind of like took it and blew us up, it was like, oh my, what? So I thanked him like really profusely, and he said, it's a terrible thing to have a song and not share it with the world. And I want that tattooed on my body somewhere, so that I can remember that, because I mean, that is kind of what we did. Like, what you're seeing, like, we have to keep a list because we all have the attention span of a gnat. But what you're hearing is genuinely the conversations that we would have just sitting around playing video games together. The only difference is now we don't have a controller in our hands.
Yeah, I have the attention span of a goldfish. It's a little bit better than a gnat. Excuse me. Thank you. But also,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's just, he is a really, really amazing dude, and like very nice. And we can't thank him enough for just sort of lighting us on fire and telling us you should probably do something about that. So we do have another little special shout out. This is to Peter Bloomquist. This week, from August 24th to August 30th, you may have seen me tweet about it, but Cameo is partnering with Baby to Baby, which provides children with essential items and school supplies and necessities, so like diapers, formula, school supplies, clothing, food, things like that. And if you buy a Cameo from Peter, he's donating 100% of his proceeds to Baby in donation. And so you have until the 30th. And so if you want to, just kind of go over to Cameo and type in Peter Bloomquist and request to get something from him. It'll be Peter being Peter, but it's for a good cause. So.
And I guarantee you won't expect whatever it is you get, because I've gotten a cameo from Peter twice, and I just kind of sit back and go, well, wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
And just for the record, like Peter, like obviously we know him, we've interacted with him, but there are other participating celebrities. I don't have the list right in front of me at the moment. So just go over to Cameo's website. You can check that out. See if there's a celebrity that you want that maybe isn't Peter, but also you should get one from Peter because he's amazing. But yeah, so it's a really good cause. We thought we'd throw that out there. It would still be going on when this podcast launches. So check that out.
It will end on the 30th. So that's, I think, a Sunday.
I believe so.
Sunday or Saturday. One of those
times. So I don't know.
One of those.
All right.
I try.
It's okay.
I
don't know what days are. Time has melded together. I thought today was like Friday, so I was like, yeah, no class. And then I was like, oh, it's Tuesday. Oh.
Guys, I've literally been at work and made it through 6 of my 8-hour shift, and then found out towards the very end that it was like Sunday.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then, of course, by the time you realize that it's Sunday and you've worked a night shift, it's actually Monday now. So it's like, wait a minute, where am I? Who am I? What year is it?
Yep. Relatable.
Yeah, I literally was like, one day I just woke up and I was just like, oh God, I don't know what day it is. I don't know what time it is. I think I should probably just go back to sleep. Maybe just like hibernate for like another year or something like that. Like, I felt like I have aged maybe several hundred years. Do not be fooled by the youthful visage that you see on Twitter. I am actually a 1,000-year-old forest witch, and I'm really sorry. I lied.
You're giving me all your secrets, Catherine. Is that wise?
It's not. They don't know how to defeat me, so it's not. It's okay.
Away.
Like I saw something on Facebook that said we need to stop going along with the whole women can be beautiful at 50. Like, I've earned my right to be a swamp witch. And I was like, ha, joke's on you. I've been a swamp witch since I was born. Catch up, 50-year-olds.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I live in the forest with like the other animals and everything, and I live in a cabin, and I help wayward knights, on their quest by giving them cryptic riddles and telling them to leave me alone. So, I mean, yeah, where are you at, 50-year-old swamp witches? We've been around for, forever, looking like forest hermits and swamp witches since we were born.
Is that your cauldron that's on the map in Red Dead 2?
Yes.
Busted.
Mystery solved.
Darn, our secrets have finally been revealed. It was me the whole time.
Oh, goodness. All right. So we had asked the question, since we're talking about social media, technically it counts, since we're talking about social media and not just Facebook.
Nice segue.
Yeah. Hey, I'm learning. I'm learning to be an acceptable adult.
Oh, no. What's that like?
it's terrible. Terrible. I'm sorry.
I've got this weird pain in my back I didn't have before.
All right. So we had asked a question on Twitter, and we wanted to know if you could be in any book, movie, or video game. First, what would that be? Second, if not one of those, what genre of book, movie, or video game would you be, and why? And we've gotten some very nice, excuse me, we've gotten some very nice answers. Usman Wahid, who is at Red Dead Uzi on Twitter, he said that I would choose a Western because I'm a huge fan because of RDR. Another universe I'd love to be in is the Witcher universe. That's a good answer.
That's
I
a
like
really
the
good
Witcher
answer.
Yeah, the Witcher universe is like, I was thinking about it in my head. I was like, both the Witcher universe and it's kind of like just spooky Red Dead Redemption. it's if the mask brought back zombies, but then you also had to deal with like other monsters, as well. And then just imagine like Geralt is just John Marston instead. Oh, that would be amazing. He would be like, I don't know what all this is going on, but okay.
Yes. Perfect John Marston.
Yes, thank you. I would like a reward, please. I'd like an Oscar and an Emmy so I can put it on my resume.
I'll see what I can do, but it'll have to be after the show.
And Shotgun Kate, at Catherine Wild H1, said that she would be in Ready Player One. I love VR and have enjoyed my PSVR and Oculus Rift very much. So the whole concept of this movie was amazing to me. I think we are only just touching on what is possible with VR. I look forward to more. Would love to experience RDR2 and RDR online in VR. How fun. Oh God, I can't think of RDR online in VR.
Honestly, when I read that, my first thought was, yeah, that sounds great and all until the bear attacks.
Oh no. Then it would be, what was that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio and Revenant. That was it. Yeah, Revenant. I was thinking about it. I was just like, bear attack, Revenant, gotcha. Yeah.
Cougar.
Oh God, no, not cougars. Especially with the legendary cougars that are like running around. I got killed by one. I spawned out of like an event online, and then all of a sudden, like, I died because a cougar jumped and ate my face. And I was like, where did you come from?
Where did you go, Cotton Eye Joe?
Sad yeehaw.
Sad yeehaw hours. Well, see, and that was the funny thing is I was actually my friend Joanna was playing, and I joined her server, and all of a sudden all I hear is "Wah!" and her character screams and she goes, "Ah!"
How does that go again?
Well, ah! You only get the enthusiastic version once. I'm sorry.
Damn.
We were trying to record it.
Yeah, I figured. Hey, guess what? I have some news that's gonna blow your mind. Are you ready for this?
Okay.
We're literally recording a podcast, so it was already recorded.
All right. Oh wait, that's right.
Wait, we're recording?
As you can see, we are big brain hours right now.
Oh, that was so funny. And the funny part is that's gonna sound so scripted, but that was real. That was so genuine, and it was beautiful. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so thank you to Shotgun Kate and to Usman for responding, and also thank you to everyone who has been sharing all the information that we've been posting, everyone that has been listening. Like, once again, just thank you all so much. We appreciate it. And then of course we've also got the people over on Facebook that we didn't thank earlier, which I forgot, one of which being a friend of mine named Rose, who like blew us up, shared our link, and was like, "Oh, who's the awkward sexy one?" And I was like, "You mean Nicola?"
I've been called many things, so
Hey, I told you, awkward sexy is in. You're
Yeah.
I
welcome.
believe you. I didn't believe you, but now I do believe. I do believe that it
I
is.
believe.
I believe. Now you can fly, Nicola. You can fly now because I
Like
believe.
bringing in air of whimsy. So
Well, that means that the next group of listeners are going to be real thirsty for your pixie-like attitude, I suppose, and your awkward sexiness.
good luck to them then.
You can't handle this much awkward.
I can't handle it, let alone them.
I can barely handle this much awkwardness. Disclaimer: Around the Campfire is not set for human consumption. Anyway. So again, a big thank you to everyone that's been sharing, everyone that's been responding. Like, that is awesome. But that being said, now we have to pose the question to ourselves.
I'm not going first.
Okay, I'll go first. I would be in a historical period piece, more along the lines of, like Red Dead, the Assassin's Creed series, because I am a very proud history geek. I just love anything to do with anything historical, whether it's, ancient times or modern period. Just, yeah, I'm a massive nerd. There's no shame to it. I'm proud of it. I'm proud of being a nerd, so.
Hey, being a nerd is awesome. Like, I realize that we all probably got beaten up for it in high school, and that's fine. But you know what? Nerds are cool.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Big Bang Theory.
Excuse you, ma'am. Thank you, Doctor Who, for proving that nerds are cool.
Yeah, bow ties are cool as well.
And so are fezzes. Funny
Mhm.
story about that. I used to own a fez, and I bought it specifically because of Matt Smith.
Do you have pictures of you wearing this said fez? I would like to see pictures.
Actually, I do. I actually do. I'll see if I can. I think they're on one of my Facebook pages. I'll see if I can track that down. And I mean, if this happens to get up to, we'll say 20 listeners, maybe I'll post it.
Maybe.
You could be Matt Smith and I could be Karen Gillan. I've got the
Hey.
hair for it, so, and the
There-
accent. So
There was, well, you're not from Inverness, but anyway.
people think I'm from Inverness for some reason. I don't know why. I'm not from Inverness. Let that be known.
But no, funny story. There was actually one year I found a jacket that looked exactly like Matt Smith's, and I used to have hair that was like all the way down to my ass, and I managed to fold it up under the jacket and make my hair swoop, and I had perfect Matt Smith hair.
Mm-hmm.
I was so proud. I had a little bow tie. I had little suspenders, a little white shirt, and I just walked around. I even had his sonic screwdriver. Like, we're talking ultimate nerd fest, guys. I was so happy. I was so proud of this outfit, and like, that was my Halloween costume for that year. I was so happy with it. I think I still have a picture of that as well.
I would definitely like to see that, and I would like our listeners to see it as well. Please, please. She won't let me see it unless we get to 20 views. She's holding me hostage. This is a call for help.
SOS, SOS. Okay, so I guess I'll go next. I've been thinking about this since the question was posed, and I can't narrow it down. But I've narrowed it down to two. So in the book world, I would be specifically in the book American Gods, because that is my all-time absolute favorite book. It's by Neil Gaiman. Um, it is the story of a man named Shadow who gets caught up in this world that is at war of the old gods that have been brought to America versus the new gods of technology. And it is such a good book. As far as video games go, I would actually like to be in the world of Castlevania Curse of Darkness, which I think is one of the more underrated Castlevania games. You play as Hector, who is a Devil Forge master, and his whole purpose is to kill Dracula. I know, shocking. A Castlevania game about killing Dracula. I know, it's so unheard of. But anyway, no, it's because Dracula killed his beloved Rosalie. So I think like being a Devil Forge master would be cool. Being able to like chill with like gods while they're at war with each other, like that would be so cool.
You guys have such like great ones. Nicola, I already told you what I think of your history, but I'm going to say it again. The Scottish Scion. That would be your book. It would be a historical romance comedy.
Yep.
If there are any people,
Jane Austen, but more humor.
Yeah. So if there's anybody out there who is a writer and wants to do this, here's an idea for you. So that Nicola's character, she has a character that she plays as or role plays as on RDR Online. Her name is Eleanor. Eleanor is Scottish as well. But Eleanor, she is a rogue, and she's like just hanging out by a stagecoach, and another rogue is like, yo, this is my spot. And so essentially they fight, but then they get picked up by the guards, and now they're stuck in prison together, and she's just like, I hate your guts. And he's like, well, you're not sunshine yourself. And now they have to escape, and like Nicola's character's whole like backstory is that it's all mysterious, quote unquote, but actually she's like gallantry? Is that the word?
I don't know. I came in towards the end of that little conversation, and all I remember is someone saying that Nicola had actually been hit by a car, and it was actually that she was in a coma, and none of that was real. But when she woke up, she realized that the doctor or her doctor was the other rogue, and then they fall in love together, and like steal shit.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good weekend. Like a really good weekend.
Nicola's just like, yeah, it's par for court. I usually get hit by cars and fall in love with my doctors, and then we go on a crime spree Saturday through Sunday, and then we break up, and then I start, a new single on Monday. Hey, how's it going?
I'm the bonnet to his cloud.
Oh my god.
Not really. I have no intention of doing that. I don't throw myself in front of cars to hook up with hot doctors. I don't.
Yeah, that's the downside. She doesn't intentionally do it, but every weekend there's a new car.
It's just like, what's going on here? She's just trying to cross the street. Why does she keep getting hit by cars? And I think I told you, Jackie, like, I think both of those would be pretty cool because it's a cult. It's kind of like, I guess, a cult supernatural genre, because you have the gods, so that'd be a cult, and like of course there's vampires, so that'd be the supernatural occult. And I can see you in it. I can see you actually in those universes, just as yourself, just going, this is great. What the fuck?
This is so good, guys. This is great. Just walking around like eating popcorn, like, oh yeah, keep going. Don't mind me. Keep going. Either that, or I will say, and maybe this is just my own personal preference, because I mean I do have it tattooed on my body. I would totally be in The Crow. which is also really ironic because for those of you that have seen our artwork, you know one of the main animal that's like front and center is a crow. Yep, that's me. But yeah, The Crow is like my favorite movie, and that is the story of Eric Draven, who was he and his fiance were murdered on Devil's Night, and he comes back because of the crow that brings him back, and he gets revenge for the murder of himself and his fiance. It's such a good story. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, I remember seeing, I think there's only two movies in there, or is there's like three? I think there's two.
There's well, there's only one that's actually worth a damn.
Yeah.
There are four. Yeah, there's four. Yeah, there's four movies and one television show, and they're talking about redoing it, and I'm like, leave it alone.
Leave it there, please. All right, so I guess I'll have to go. I put it off. If you couldn't tell, I was putting it off.
Had noticed.
I would be in horror. That would be my genre. That would be in the genre for all books, movies, and video games. And like, it's not just gonna be horror. Like, oh no, I'm the victim. I'm the killer.
Okay, so normally I try to ignore audio like glitches and whatnot. Which, by the way, I am currently living in the state of Louisiana. We have 2 hurricanes headed straight for us, so the Wi-Fi is a little wonky right now. So any of the audio cracks that you're hearing, yeah, just blame Laura and Marco. But normally I just let them go, and it's just like, oh man, that's unfortunate. But that one I have to bring attention to because the way that it cracked. The way that it cracked. No, it was like it's like an audio lag that happens. The way that it did it was it didn't sound like you said horror. It sounded like you said, I'd be in horror. And I hope that caught. I hope that one caught because it was so funny.
Well,
like, I thought we were not going to be too risque, but I see here we go. All right, cool.
Beyond saucy.
Woo!
That's hot sauce.
Yeah, I'd be in horror. I'd be the killer. I'd be the one that's just like, oh no, there's like ghosts and spirits here killing people. Oh wow, that's so crazy, y'all. And then I would be the one that's actually killing people, not because I was a ghost or a spirit. No, that's because I just wanted to. So horror, yeah. Just, if there's anybody here who's also a developer for Dead by Daylight, I would love to be one of your new killers.
That would be, honestly, I think that would be the scariest one because you have such a nice and sweet voice, and it's just like, oh no, I guess you're dead now, stab.
Oh no, how did this happen? That's terrible. Why are you bleeding so much?
As you're steadily stabbing them.
What, Nicola?
I apologize, sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
Hi, I'm Catherine. I'm your new camp counselor.
No, I was thinking about it. I was like, okay, so either it would be a comedy or it would be like a horror comedy. And I talked to my partner, and he was like, I could see you in a horror comedy, but you were like the person that's just like poltergeist. Okay, there's supposed to be like blood dripping on the walls. Where's my blood? Where's my sigils? That's lame. You didn't even like put my furniture into like stands like on top of each other in the living room.
Wow, this is getting such a negative review on Yelp. 0 out of 10 would not visit this haunted place again.
It's terrible. And he's only basing it on the fact that I don't get scared very easily by horror films or like video games. So I was playing through Resident Evil 2. and I was playing as Claire. And so I was doing the pushing the library stacks together so that it forms a bridge for the second floor. And I completely missed the sound of Mr. X's feet right behind me until he got like right up on me. And I was like, I think I'm doing this wrong. And as I'm saying this, I stop and I hear clump, clump, what? And I get punched in the face by Mr. X. But instead of going, ah, you know, like everybody like screams when they see Mr. X and they're just like, oh no, I was just like, just started laughing and I paused the game and I just couldn't stop laughing because it was so stupid that I had gotten like surprised, not surprised, but just sucker punched in the face. And so I just was like, all right. And I unpaused it and I just ran up, you know, like the stairs. I just ran around him because he's got a wind up to his punch. Just so you know, if you guys haven't been watching, like, you know, those speed runners, he does have like a short delay after he punches you. So you have a chance to run. But yeah, he's just basing it off of that. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, I can see that. I'm just kind of this like negative review. Zombies, they're slow, they're shambling. Oh, this one can run. That's pretty interesting. Well, I'm just going to put on this armor. This is fine. So yeah, I'd be in horror.
So speaking of being scared, like I feel like I should tell this story because I told it. I think I know I've typed it out, but I don't know if I actually told anybody about it. So I was at work and I was like when I start working and I'm making breakfast in the morning, I get in the zone, auto zone, and
yeah.
like the world around me just completely disappears. So my manager comes in. I can hear her keys. So like I'm still aware enough of the world to be aware of my surroundings to a degree, apparently. So I heard her key, so I knew she was around me. I smelled her perfume, so I knew she was near. I thought she was the next room over getting coffee. So I'm holding a tray and I'm like assembling all of our breakfast bags. I turn around, she's less than a foot away from me. And because I was going forward to move on to my next task, I had to quickly stop and then kind of pull back so I didn't like run into her. Mm-hmm. But my immediate reaction when something scares me is not to scream, it's not to jump, it's not to do whatever. It's to throw whatever is in my hand at whoever is or whatever is responsible for scaring me. So I had lifted the tray to hit her with it. And then part of my brain went, that's your manager, don't hit her. And so I had to like, it was this weird flail as my brain scrambled trying to figure out what to do. And then I stopped and just looked at her and went, good morning. In just this perfectly calm, level voice. And she just laughed. And I said, you almost got hit, just so you know. And then I moved on to my next task. The other night I had a guy scare the mess out of me because I stepped off the elevator after doing my security checks for the night. Mm-hmm. And there was no one standing at the front desk. And I was like, awesome, cool, go back. I can drop the professional skin that I've got on. And then I round the corner and there's a man standing there. And I physically jumped, put my hand to my chest, and all I said was, goodness. Just in this quiet, calm tone. And he just went, did I just scare you? A little bit, yeah.
A little.
Meanwhile, on the inside, my heart's going, ah!
I'm just imagining you doing this. You're like, just like, oh, goodness. Like you're like one of those ladies in 1950s who are just like, those kids, she's wearing a skirt that's too short, and you're like clutching your imaginary pearl.
See, and that was the best part, is because I had put my hand to my chest and I was like, did I really just do a pearl clutch at this man? And then in the most southern belle, oh goodness. Like, what am I? Who am Why? Who is this person? I don't like her. Get rid of her. I am not a Southern Belle.
Well, you're the Southern Belle of my heart.
Aw. Well,
Aw.
that definitely means you're getting an award after the show.
Awesome. Yes.
Victory.
Victory is mine.
I think we all get awards. Uh, that kind of reminds me of something actually, because when I was a kid, I never liked haunted houses, which is funny now because I'm just like, horror, this is whatever. But when I was a kid, I never liked haunted houses, and I would get a little scared of like certain types of things. I'm sorry if you hear my dog. He I don't know if he's gonna be picked up by the mic, but and at the drop of a hat he will bark at stuff. But yeah, for Halloween, one time, my parents are in the military, or were in the military. My dad's retired now, so we've kind of been all over the United States. And so when I was like, right before I moved to where I currently live, there's this house down the street that had like this big giant like haunted house type of deal, and all of my friends wanted to go, and I was just like, no thank you, you guys have fun. And they're just like, no, come on, it'll be fun. And it's so stupid to think of it now, because the only scary thing that they had there was one of those like Spirit of Halloween like animatronic, little skeletons that pop out of like a coffin.
I
But I was
actually thought you were gonna say the scariest thing they had was black mold, but go on.
well, I mean, probably. I think they had
I
a
guess.
basement. But yeah, it was so dumb. It was, thinking about it, I'm just like, as a kid, it just haunted houses or like scary tales just frightened me, but then I sort of just become desensitized to them. So if somebody surprised me, they wouldn't really know that I was surprised. I would just kind of be like, what's up? I see. And it's just keep going. I would never do the clutch pearls. The only time that I think I've ever like put my hand to my chest and went like was because I think I almost dropped something.
Was it your baby?
It was a cake. I had worked hard on it, okay? I didn't
Not on your baby. I didn't work on my baby at all, but that cake dough.
No, I would never drop her. I was paranoid about dropping her, but I found that I have like an iron grip when it comes to children, but to cakes and like stuff like that, I'm just like, whoopsie.
Oopsie daisy.
Oh goodness.
So, funny story that you bring up a haunted house. Little known fact, I actually used to be an actor in a haunted house.
Really?
I was. I actually was. I was underage at the time. Oops. I was 14 when I started. I was 15 by the time the season ended, which, I mean, my birthday's in October. So it wasn't like I was 14 working for like 4 days. But yeah, I was actually an actor for a haunted house. And so being young and having amazing vocal cords that I did, I was in the vampire room, which had like it was a whole layout, but there were like animatronic vampires. There was like a statue at the end of our room that was this, like, I guess he was supposed to be like a vampire priest or something. I don't know.
Wait, I'm sorry. No, keep going, and you can answer my questions afterward.
But anyway, so like there were multiple hiding spots that we would have, and we would jump out and we would scream. And I actually found that I was really, really good at standing completely still because what I would do is I would just pick a position, like, because there were different cues that someone was about to come into your area. And so when I heard that cue, I would just like hold myself into this really weird position and I would stay there because my mind would be wandering. And like that was cool and all, but apparently I was too good at it. And I chop it up to also the lighting. Because I had people come over, like one person was like, "Oh, this is a statue," and he groped me. But in his defense, he legitimately thought I was a statue. And when I moved and slapped his hands, he panicked and like genuinely apologized.
Oh
no. So there's a guy out there that accidentally groped a 15-year-old. Yeah. So basically, if you are underage, don't do that. Don't be a statue. That's not a good idea, because you will have drunk people that will test to see if you are real in one of the more awkward ways possible. But yeah, so there was this one area that was it was a coffin that was up on the wall, and I used to climb into it, and I would there was a little slot that was open kind of in the back of the coffin where I could put my hands. And so I'd hold my hands up there, and so it would look like my hands were tied, and like I was on the wall, and I would just scream at the top of my lungs, "It's a coffin! It's a coffin! Let me out!" Because Interview with the Vampire. Yeah. And I would scream, and one of the actors from we were at the back of the house. But one of the actors from the front of the house, like out in the, not the parking lot, but like in the open area where they could, because there was 3 different houses, so like everyone's like waiting in line. He actually left his position to find my room to make sure that I was okay, because my screams sounded too real. And he could hear me outside where there's music going. We've got, all these different animatronics going off, and they're like all pressure cannon, like air cannon. So it's like the whole time. Yeah. And he heard me and came to check on me. That is like the highlight of my life. Like my screams were so genuine.
It's like, "Ma'am, are you okay?" "Oh, yeah, I'm fine."
And then he was like, "You realize that we can hear you outside?" He's like, he's like, "There are people that have bought tickets for this house that refuse to go in because all they can hear is you screaming bloody murder, and they think you're being murdered." So yeah.
You wouldn't get me in a murder house or like any sort of like haunted house. I don't do getting spooked. I mean, if there was a dude, dressed like Jason Voorhees or Michael Myers or something, they jumped out and went boo, they'd be getting punched in the balls. That's for sure. I mean, no, just not cool. I mean, I'm too short to, get a good whack in somebody's face, but, perfect eye line below the belt. So, yeah. Watch out, guys. Don't spook the little ginger. Don't. I would not recommend.
She will punch you right there, right in the sensitive bits.
Yeah, that's the funny thing. That's the funny thing. We actually had, like, before the Halloween season started, we did actually have house meetings, because again, 3 houses, so all the actors from that one house would meet up. And we did have safety meetings where they're like, "You will get punched at least once." Like, so men wear a cup, girls, just try not to get too close because they'll probably go for your face. Like, you will get punched. And so like all the veterans that had been there for a while were like, yeah. And all the rookies were like, yeah. And they'd make it through about the first night. And then from that point on, they'd wear a cup, because 9 times out of 10, they were actually punched or kicked or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. Someone jumps on them. Their reaction to getting scared is jumping and biting them.
I remember one time Joanna actually came through, because like Joanna has been a really supportive friend for like ever. But so she came through because she like, well, first of all, we both love spooky stuff and like Halloween is the best. But she also was like, I want to see my friend in her element. And so she came through and I literally just kind of stalked her down the hall. We get into this like kind of darker hallway and I grabbed her because like technically as actors you can touch people, but what you can't do is like shove them against the wall, which is what I did because she was my friend. So I grabbed her, shoved her against the wall and went, hello, and then kissed her cheek, which I had black lipstick on. So she had this black lipstick print on her cheek and then went, goodbye, and ran away. And then I got about halfway down the hall and went, oh, please, dear God, let that have been Joanna.
Awkward if it wasn't.
It really would have been. Like, there would have been like, some vampire just kissed me.
It's a vampire.
She marked me for later. I think she's going to come for me.
I'm coming for you and you're going to be dinner.
Sitting the night scratching at the window going, hello.
Hello, my pretty. You taste like a dinner.
I'll look at you, my pretty, and your little dog too.
I do miss those days. And the funny thing is, if a couple of my friends on my Facebook page, if they listen to this, I guarantee you that will be like the ultimate nostalgia for them. Like, those were the days.
Yeah. Like it's so strange how we think about memories now. Like I remember thinking it's silly now, like I said, about haunted houses when I was a kid, but now as an adult I'm just kind of like, yeah, haunted houses are haunted houses. But I kind of find myself thinking about not just a haunted house, but like the neighborhood that I would run around and ride my bike, go visit friends, or just memories from all the other places that I lived in. And I think the most fondest memory I have is catching grasshoppers when I was a kid in South Carolina, or exploring like the deserts in Fort Irwin, which is in California. And just being a kid in those places, or seeing my first snow in like Indiana. So it's so strange. I think that if I did go back to those places, I'd probably be able to find my house, the places that I used to live in, like fairly easily. I think maybe a little bit of fumbling, but I might be able to find them pretty easily, which would probably weird out the current owners, because then they'd be like, there's this woman who's just she looks lost. She's standing outside of our house and she's just kind of staring at it and pointing.
You will die in 7 days.
It's really creepy.
That's when you just look at him and go, you will die in 7 days.
Oh no. I'd be like, hey, I used to live here. Can I come inside your house? No, I would never do that to them. I'd just be like, oh look, that's where I used to live, and I used to go to school over here. And it's just, I don't know, it's just one of those things. I think it's like golden memories, because we only remember sometimes the good things that happened, and then we're like, yeah, I went to like, and then when you actually go by that house, you're like, I broke my arm on that tree. I had fun.
See, I didn't move around as a kid. I didn't move until much later in life, but when I was a kid, I used to play in the woods across from my house, which the woods aren't there anymore. It's now housing complexes. But just being lost in the woods, and it was like an adventure as a kid. Like that was my playground, was just this whole expanse of forest essentially. And it was like, it felt almost like a weird dream, because when you're a kid, it's like everything is a fantasy world. And I was an only child, so I literally just had me, myself, and I. So I would play in the woods for hours and just come up with these amazing stories of like, fairy creatures and dragons and all this stuff, just like across the road from my house. And yeah, like that's when I look outside and I see like all these houses there, it's like what I see in my mind versus what I see with my eyes. Like that was like my playground was destroyed, so it kind of makes me sad.
Hmm. I usually think back to the house that I predominantly grew up in. It was originally my grandparents' house. But yeah, like a lot of really, really happy memories in that place and some sad memories as well. But like a really prominent memory, and I don't know why it's a prominent memory. I can't remember how old I was, but yeah, I was out playing in the street and I got called in, and then my face just bounced off the ground after tripping over my own feet. And yeah, that was a bit of a war wound. I can remember. Yeah, yeah, that really hurt. So like look back at like on the curbside and be thinking, oh yeah, ah yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that really hurt. Yeah, not a really happy memory, but almost
Yeah.
if
Like,
that makes sense, it probably doesn't.
yeah, like, I remember just sort of like, I used to live in this house that was on top of kind of like a little mini hill, in South Carolina. And that's where I learned how to, ride a bike without training wheels. I was probably maybe like 6 or 7. And so it was the first time that I was doing it, and I was just riding around the little cul-de-sac, like, oh, awesome, great, look at me, a big kid. I don't have training wheels. I can do this. And then I ran into a mailbox. I just glanced off of the mailbox and I fell into somebody's lawn. I don't remember who lived there, but I was just, it's like a cartoon, like basically like, oh, look at me, this is great, and just bonk. I had like, oh goodness.
I have a similar story, except mine, like I was rollerblading. Like when I took to rollerblading, like I took to it like a pro. I was
Mhm.
so good at it. Now I can't even walk correctly, but as a kid, I had amazing coordination. And like yes, like I said, I was an only child, so I spent quite a good amount of my childhood alone. So I would just rollerblade for hours on end and just be completely lost in thought and just like the world around me was my playground. And so when my mom was working, she was a massage therapist. Well, she still is, but outside of her work, there was this road that I would just
Mhm.
rollerblade on. And there was one area that I specifically avoided because it went from kind of flat to a very steep hill. And then being a kid and you have no care in the world, like, that looks like a fun hill. I finally decided one day that I'm going to do it.
No.
Except I started going way too fast and I panicked and could not figure out how to stop. So I looked around me and I was like, the only way that I could possibly stop is there's like this cluster box of like mailboxes all together. So a big cluster box. So big metal boxes. And just to show you the resilience of kids, at full speed going down a hill, I grabbed onto these metal boxes and like one hand slipped. So I literally went forward to back. My back smashed into this metal box and like jerked my shoulder and all this stuff, but I stopped. Didn't break anything, didn't even dislocate anything. I was very sore later, but
Sorry again.
that's just our alarm dog, because if you look at our timer, Mom, you're almost out of time. But yeah, didn't break anything, didn't dislocate anything. I was very sore for about a week. But yeah, so basically, if you're gonna rollerblade and you decide you want to tackle that hill, have a stopping plan that doesn't involve a big metal cluster box.
Yeah.
What was it? Fall on your butt?
Yeah.
Or try to fall on your butt, not on your face. Not
Or
on
the-
your face.
At the very least, like if you can, throw yourself into a grassy area and then just roll.
Have a soft landing if you can.
If you can.
So that's our PSA for the day.
Yep.
Oh, yes, please be careful. Don't be like us and just kind of not be self-aware of our environments.
But
So, yeah.
unfortunately, that does draw us to the end of yet another episode. Episode 2, how do we feel about episode 2?
Mm, I think that we did great, but I also think that we did great. I think I did terrible, but I think we did great. Both of you are superstars. Just mwah, wonderful.
So, that being said, I guess we will see you all next week.
Yeah.
Hopefully. If my class load doesn't kill me, yes.
We will revive you either way.
Absolutely.
Okay, I guess. Thank you for joining us around the campfire. We'd like to thank Brett Van Donsel for providing the music, and you can find more of him on his website at brettvanDonselmusic.com. You can find us on Twitter at CameoGang1899 and on YouTube at Around the Campfire Podcast. This is Catherine, riding off, and we'll see you around, cowpoke.